Alright, so, you have my apologies for the god-awful state of my hair. I just need to have a shower and dry it again. Or wash it and dry it again. It only takes a day or two before it starts sticking out like crazy. Like right now, I could just do this and have the big fucking chaos on my head, but I don't know. It's chaos anyway. And I apologize for the shitty lighting, but actually this is really good lighting compared to other videos that I've done. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a fat ass? And it's funny because I look at my face and it still looks kind of small. It is completely unreflective of my body and the changes my body has undergone. I wrote a journal entry earlier, which addressed the most important points, but I guess the basics of it is right now my psychiatrist is being less than helpful. Of course, that's partly my fault, but I kind of don't care either. So it's like it was kind of a test. It turned into a very passive-aggressive test. Because with the whole PMDD thing, which means premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which means it's not just PMS. You have really, really, really bad symptoms. In my case, I've been in the hospital, suicidal, unable to control it. And this has happened time and time and time again, which is how I figured out what it was in the first place, because I'd get in, and within 2 to 4 days, I would start my period. So that's a very strong indicator right there. And I paid attention this month, very close attention, and like my boobs have been swollen and really tender the whole time. My mood for 2 days was like I had to take the extra clonazepam that my psychiatrist prescribed me, even though I haven't been taking it like as a usual thing. Because I don't really want to, because I don't want my body to get tolerant to that amount, and then if I need to go back down in dose, it's not going to work even worse, and I'm going to have withdrawal and shit like that. Shit, I was talking to the PMDD, right? Yeah, so I had to use that to control myself, because one night, I literally went like this on my arms, like with my fingernails, like all I wanted to do was tear that shit up, so I had to take medication to calm myself down. And it's like, okay, what has eating gotten me? 25 extra pounds that I didn't want. Okay, fine, whatever. I could deal with that if it wasn't for the other stuff. The realization that the avoidant personality disorder is completely out of control. My psychiatrist doesn't have a clue what to do with it. And basically, I'm at a standstill. I don't know how to fix it. She doesn't know how to fix it. Nobody seems to know what to fucking do about it. So, I have to live with the social avoidance that it brings to me, which, you know, it makes me terrified of having a job, it makes me terrified of going to school, because these are unknown, very stressful situations, and the second I get put into one of those, I freak out. And I wish I could stop that, but again, pros aren't being very helpful. I don't know what to do. What the fuck am I supposed to do about it? I mean, I don't know. You know, nobody knows much about avoidant personality disorder. It's not exactly high research like borderline. You know, when I had borderline, there was lots of research, you know, new treatments are being developed, whatever. I still am supposed to have borderline traits, but it's not my main diagnosis anymore. So while we can focus on some of the borderline stuff, you know, it's going to make somewhat of a difference, but not enough of a difference if we don't also attack the avoidant. And then, of course, the avoidant coupled with the dysthymia, which is the chronic mild depression. And it sounds almost easy compared to major depression, but the problem is how long it lasts. You basically, for me anyway, it's like I just don't enjoy my life. I don't like things the way people normally like things, and I hate myself. These, you know, those are my most prominent 2 symptoms. You only have a few symptoms, they last for years and years and years. Literally, I've had this disorder since I was 15. And you may get a few months of reprieve off and on. I've had that, but it just comes back. And they've told me many, many times that this is not something I can fix with medication. I need to do therapy for it. Right now, the last few therapy sessions that I went to were just complete bull. She even said she wanted to try therapy on me that focused only on the here and now. What the fuck good is that going to do me if I've had dysthymia since I was 15 years old? There's obviously some kind of, I don't know, pattern going on since I was 15 that needs to be addressed. Only dealing with the present day isn't going to do shit. No. You're too sensitive to the other kind of therapy. It makes you break down, so let's try the other shit. It's like, okay, yes, it makes me break down, but maybe that means I should be having a higher level of care while I do this therapy. Is that available? Of course not. No good treatment is available in Canada, and they're not going to pay for me to go to the United States, where I could possibly get this kind of treatment. Like, those three things, like the PMDD, and then the avoidant, and then the dysthymia, like, that's polymorbid already. That doesn't include the eating disorder, which is still obviously alive in my head if I'm, considering, like, losing weight again. Because I'm just fucking sick of all this shit, and the eating disorder is the only thing I know that makes the emotions numb themselves out because my brain stopped working. And, I have drugs now that I can take to numb things out a bit, but that won't work forever. It's just gonna go back to what it has been. And what it has been is the struggle through gray mud. And kind of like if there was mud everywhere, like interspersed, I feel like it's, not just a ground kind of mud, but it's kind of like I'm walking, and sort of how, like, if you're in a really thick forest, when you're trying to make your way through, you get hit by all sorts of, like, bramble, and you get scratched up and shit like that. Instead, it feels more like I'm slogging through a forest of mud, and, I try to push it aside, and sometimes I can't, and sometimes I can make a dent, and other times I can push it, but it's really hard work. And in the end, I'm still standing in a forest of mud. And I don't know how long it goes on for. And I don't know I don't know any more efficient tools of digging myself out of the mud. I don't know where the non-mud is. Presumably there's a sky above a forest. But in a forest of mud? You don't know what's going on. So I'm in the forest of mud. It's a very drab, very ugly place. And I'm just kind of sitting there, doing nothing. I can't work, I can't go to school. Even things like writing terrify me, because I feel like there's a whole lot of expectations placed on writing. So, like, anything creative basically has gone out the window, and I just feel like there's nothing left. Nothing that was ever me. Nothing that is me. Music has the same level of anxiety as well. Because I was in music school. I mean, if you want a more stressful musical environment, look no further than a music school. So it's like everywhere I turn, everything I've ever done is highly anxiety provoking, and I'm sick of this shit. I've had enough. I'm sick of being given ineffectual treatments, even though I thought at first that they were going to work. I'm sick of almost sort of knowing what to do in some ways, but being too cowardly to do it. There are things that I know I should say to my therapist that I can't. P.S. My PDoc and my therapist are the same thing. There are things I know I should say to her that I just can't say. I can't write them because I know that for it to be true catharsis, so to speak, it has to be said, not written down. Writing it down would mean she knows, yes, but the barrier that I have to get through is the terror in telling her. And I know that. And I can't tell her about that without her wondering what it is and possibly asking about it, and that's just going to increase my anxiety level more, and I can't handle that either, even though I'm saying that that's the thing I need. It is the thing I need, but it's also the thing that I fear the most. And avoidant personality disorder is all about fear. you know? If you saw Divergent, if you read Divergent, you know the Dauntless, the faction, the Dauntless, they're the brave. They believe in bravery above all things, and that cowardice is to blame for the world's faults. I don't know about the world's faults. That's, cowardice as causing war is not something I ascribe to, but because I'm more of the amity, which is the peaceful, that aggression causes war rather than being too cowardly to act, But being too cowardly to act might mean you get overrun by somebody else who's really aggressive, aka the Dauntless, but it doesn't cause war per se, in my opinion. That's me. Let's say, what reason? Oh, shit. And this, I lose the plot sometimes too, which is just wonderful, because it could be a side effect of the drugs, or I also think my intelligence actually has gone down, which could be a result of the disorders, or the medications, or both. I wouldn't know how medication related it was until I actually came off the medications, which I can't do. So, but yeah, I'm not brave. I'm not brave at all. I would never ever be able to be dauntless, and basically I'm chronically full of fear. And it's like terrible, awful fear. So I don't see the point. Even without the eating disorder, I'm dealing with the gold, silver, and bronze medalists of bobsled when I've never been in a bobsled. And they're, I'm supposed to compete with them in a bobsled race. It's never gonna happen. I can't win that, An eating disorder is the only thing I know of to get rid of it. And honestly, if binging and purging was feasible, I might consider doing that instead. Because the weight loss is obvious, people start to kind of get on your case, people force you to go get medical treatments and go for checkups and all sorts of bullshit that I do not want to have to deal with, but I probably will if I ever get to that state again. But I don't have enough money to buy the food that I would need to binge and purge. Even if I also restrict it, because right now I'm in a position where I got addicted to eBay for a while, and now I'm having to pay sort of back bills and shit that I wasn't paying while I was paying for eBay, and for the next month and a half, I'm not gonna have the kind of money it takes to have binge food and also restrict. And frankly, right now, I'd rather just spend money on the stuff that makes restricting easier, because it's less money overall. It'll make the other stuff possible. I don't know. This video is getting really long, so I'm gonna end it. But, as always, if you have any questions, just go to the ask box or write a message here or whatever. I'll answer it publicly or privately as you request or as I see fit, one or the other. So anyway, this is going to take forever to upload and save. Well, not save, but to upload, so I should stop it and get cracking. Okay, bye.